Hello, Commanders fans. Today we have some hot news that you can't miss, so get ready because there's a lot of important information coming. Before we start, we'd like to take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and stay up to date with all the news about our Washington Commanders. Don't forget to leave a like, which really strengthens our community and helps bring this content to the most passionate fans of the team. Now, without further ado, let's get straight to today's news. Things just didn't work out. Former Commanders star breaks silence on his departure. Since being released by the Washington Commanders, defensive tackle Jonathan Allen has broken his silence on his departure and shared his thoughts on the future. In his first public statement since the move, Allen expressed both his gratitude for his time in Washington and his excitement for the new opportunity to continue his career with the Minnesota Vikings. Acknowledging the reality of the sport. "The NFL is a business," Allen said of his release. "It's very difficult to play your entire career with one team." The statement reflects the relentless nature of the league, where roster changes are constant and strategic decisions often lead established veterans to seek new opportunities elsewhere. A first-round draft pick by Washington in 2017, Allen spent the last 8 seasons with the team, becoming one of the most consistent and respected players on the Commanders' defense. During his time with the team, he experienced periods of extreme difficulty, but also periods of great success. Last season, for example, was one of the most remarkable for the franchise, with a record of 12 wins and 5 losses. The team's best performance since 1991, as well as a trip to the NFC Championship, solidifying the team's evolution in recent years. However, with the arrival of a new leadership team, the team's vision for the future changed. The new regime, led by a different coaching staff, chose to follow a different path and did not consider Allen as part of their long-term plans. No hard feelings, but ready for the next chapter. "A new regime came in, they had a path they wanted to take, and I was not part of it," Allen said, demonstrating maturity and understanding about the situation. "I have to give them credit for doing me a favor by letting me go when they did." His statement suggests that the team's decision to release him at a strategic time allowed him to explore new opportunities in the market and find a new home before the start of the next season. Now, Allen is focused on his new journey with the Vikings and excited for the chance to work with head coach Kevin O'Connell again. The connection with O'Connell, who has an innovative offensive vision and helped transform Minnesota into a strong contender in the NFC, could be a crucial factor in Allen quickly fitting into the new defensive scheme. "Things just didn't work out for some reason, but I'm super excited to be a part of this new team," Allen shared enthusiastically. What can we expect from Allen on the Vikings? Allen's arrival in Minnesota adds a key piece to the team's defensive line. Known for his physical strength, ability to stop the run game, and ability to pressure opposing quarterbacks, Allen could be a key addition to a team looking to improve its defensive performance. Commanders make a splash in recruiting local wide receiver. The Washington Commanders are looking to recruit a high-potential local prospect in the 2025 NFL Draft, with the potential to keep a Virginia talent closer to home. Maryland wide receiver Ty Felton spoke to the media on Friday following his impressive performance at Pro Day. During the interview, Felton singled out the Commanders as one of the teams that stood out to him during his recruiting process. A native of Ashburn, Virginia, Felton has always had a strong connection to the region. He decided to stay home by committing to the University of Maryland, where he continued his football career. Now, the Commanders have a chance to follow suit and add the talented wide receiver to their roster while also strengthening their offensive attack. After adding Deebo Samuel to the wide receiver position this offseason, the Commanders could look to Felton to fill the void left by Dyami Brown, who signed with the Jaguars in free agency. Felton is known for his ability to create separation from defenders with precise routes and explosiveness, traits that make him a constant threat on the field. In his final season with the Terrapins, he had 1,124 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns, averaging an impressive 11.7 yards per reception. Felton's draft stock rise. Ty Felton's offseason was marked by standout performances at both the Senior Bowl and the NFL Combine, further boosting his draft stock. At the 2025 Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, Felton had a standout performance, including finding the end zone during the game after a week of intensive workouts against some of the best prospects in the country. The former Maryland wide receiver continued to impress at the NFL Combine, where he stood out among the wide receivers in Indianapolis, Indiana, showcasing his skills and catching the attention of several NFL teams. Felton is currently considered a late day 2 to early day 3 prospect in the NFL draft. With his potential value rising as the draft approaches, he could be a viable option for the Commanders at pick 128. If selected, Felton would join a talented and experienced wide receivers room as the team continues to build a young and promising core for the future. A potential addition of Felton to the Commanders would represent another strategic step towards strengthening the team's roster, especially at a key position that has become increasingly important in the NFL's offensive landscape. Washington Commanders eyeing Browns edge rusher to bolster defense. If there was one area of the Washington Commanders team that was lacking last season, it was the defensive line. While the team showed signs of recovery at times, its pressure on the opposing quarterback was among the worst in the NFL. This is largely due to significant departures at the 2023 trade deadline, which left the team without key pass rushers. Now, with the offseason underway and the 2025 draft approaching, the Commanders are looking for solutions to bolster this core unit of the team. While many analysts believe Washington should invest heavily in recruiting new defensive talent during the draft, one reporter pointed out that there is a quicker and more efficient alternative to bolstering the pass rush: a trade for Cleveland Browns edge rusher Ogbo Okoronkwo. Bleacher Report's Brad Gagnon suggested that the Commanders reach out to the Browns to explore a possible trade for the player. Adding another dedicated edge rusher to help replace Dante Fowler Jr. would be a smart move, Gagnon said. He also noted that Trey Hendrickson would be a viable option, but that Washington should pay special attention to Okoronkwo as a more affordable and effective alternative. Ogbo Okoronkwo's potential. The Browns signed Okoronkwo to a 3-year, $19 million contract during the 2023 offseason, but he has been used on a rotational basis on defense since then. Now, with the Cleveland Browns recently signing Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, the team may consider Okoronkwo expendable and be willing to trade him for a reasonable price. Over 6 years in the league, with teams such as the Los Angeles Rams, Houston Texans, and Cleveland Browns, Okoronkwo has recorded a total of 17 sacks, proving himself to be a solid defender who can add value to a needy front seven. His ability to pressure quarterbacks and his versatility could be crucial assets for the Commanders in 2025. The urgency of improving the defensive line. The NFC East remains one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL, and the Commanders need to bolster their defensive line if they want to keep up with rivals like the Philadelphia Eagles, who boast one of the most dominant offensive lines in the league. The main way to counter that advantage is to build a defense with quality players who can break through blocks and get to the opposing quarterback quickly. Washington has options on the market and in the draft, but an early move for an experienced player like Okoronkwo could accelerate the team's defensive rebuilding process. With a well-timed decision, the Commanders could transform their defensive line from one of the weakest areas to a unit capable of making a difference on the field next season.